Well, good morning and welcome back to At First Glance special Advent season. How exciting is that? First week of Advent.
I'm excited.
I'm excited to get into this story. It's a good one. It's a lot. And it's also in Matthew 24, starting at verse 36, going to verse 44. For those following along.
All right.
Are we going to do it?
Let's do it.
All right. But concerning that day and hour, no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and given in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be left in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. The Son of Man is coming at an hour that we will not expect.
So, if the season of Advent is only about getting ready for Christmas, this makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
So we start the new church year with the first Sunday of Advent.
Happy New Year, Pastor. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, indeed. We start a new gospel. We've been in Luke all through this past year, and now we're in Matthew. And we start in Matthew near the end, in the middle of, but about that day and hour. What day and hour? I mean, we're right in the middle of this chapter, in the middle of a conversation between Jesus and his disciples. We start in the middle. And we're talking about something that has nothing to do with the birth of Jesus.
Right.
So, to set a little bit of context, chapter 24 has Jesus proclaiming that the temple is going to be completely destroyed. There's not going to be a stone left on stone. And the disciples come to him and ask, what is that all about? Like, when is that going to happen? And what are the signs going to be that this is about to happen? And so he's been explaining that not only is the temple going to be destroyed, but the whole world is going to be in upheaval, and they're going to be confronted with persecution. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but hang in there, because the Son of Man is coming back. I'm coming back. And when I come back, everybody will know it. And so that's where we come into this. But about that day and hour, when Christ returns. So it's looking at the beginning of this Advent season, in our first touch into the Gospel of Matthew. It's looking at the unexpected time when Christ comes back.
So I guess that raises the question: how do we prepare for an event that we cannot expect? Or maybe we can expect it, but we don't know when, where, how, or why. How do we prepare for an event like that?
I think that's a good question. In the Gospels, and I think sometimes in some of the New Testament letters, people are asking more about like when.
Yeah.
How will we know?
Like, we want a date.
Yeah. And concerned that maybe we missed that date already.
Right.
So here, I mean, I think that's the right question. It's like, what does it mean to prepare, and how do we go about doing that?
Right.
So in this text that we've just read, Jesus makes clear that you can't anticipate the time. the example of Noah and the ark is, Noah prepares the ark, but the world is going on around him, and people are doing what they usually do. They're going through their daily routines. They're getting married. They're celebrating life events, eating, drinking, and all of a sudden,
It's over.
the skies open up and the floods come, and it's over. So if the coming of Christ is like that, how do you prepare? So I've been thinking about, I'm 63 now, so I've had to do some financial planning for retirement and legacy planning for when I'm gone. Where does that, whatever's left of whatever money I have, what happens with my possessions and that kind of thing. So that's a little bit weird.
It sounds weird.
You get to that point in your life where you're thinking, okay, this doesn't go on forever.
Right.
And there's no guarantees. So death is like that. You know it's coming, but you don't know exactly when or how. So thinking about that, there are practices within the Christian tradition, there's practices in the Buddhist tradition of meditating on your death, of anticipating, that day's coming. If I reflect on that and what that means, that changes the way that I live today.
Absolutely it does.
If I'm not hiding from it, or if I'm not trying to push it off and pretend like that's not coming, then I can be more realistic about what do I do with this day? Today's a gift. Benedict in his rule says, keep death always before you.
But he doesn't say it in a way that, if you hear that just by itself,
Yeah.
it sounds discouraging.
Yeah.
But he doesn't mean it in a discouraging way, right?
Yeah, no, he means it, I think, in the sense that I've just named, that, seeing that
Yep.
the way you live today will be shifted if you're recognizing your mortality. We say that on Ash Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Remember that you're dust, and to dust you shall return.
Yeah.
Not to be morbid, but to recognize our vulnerability
Mm-hmm.
and the need to depend upon God and to live in a way that's faithful today.
Right.
So all that being said, I think that what Jesus is naming here is that kind of invitation to be centered in who we're called to be in the kingdom of God.
Mm-hmm.
All that he teaches, and again, that's kind of strange at the beginning of the year. That's not how we would start to tell a story, but this is a story that we tell every year.
Absolutely.
And so we're all invited into this story of who we are in relationship with God and one another. So we're not starting from the beginning. We have the history of telling the story before, and we're coming back again,
Right.
to remembering, okay, to love God with our whole being, to love our neighbor as ourselves, that Jesus came not to be served, but to serve. And the greatest within his community is the one who serves the least ones, that is.
Right.
The one who serves the most toward those who
To
are
the
least.
least, yes.
So the invitation, I think, is to really take that to heart,
Mm-hmm.
and to be committed to that, and not get distracted by the things that are going on in the world, the worries that are part of the news every day, to keep centered in our relationship with a God who has poured out love upon us and called us to share that love.
Yeah, I agree. That's really well said. I don't know if I can add anything to that. I guess then, if we start to think about in a not super morbid way, I've actually heard Advent being said as, if you were going to die in 25 days, how would you live right now?
Mhm.
I think this story, as you named, is a good way to start to think about that question. How do we want to be remembered?
Mhm.
How do we want to live if we knew we were going to die in 25 days?
Mhm.
That's an important thing to think about.
Mhm.
That's a good time to start thinking about it
Yeah.
as we prepare
Yeah,
for
think
Christ's
about
coming.
think about the other ways in which there are sort of deadlines that we need to be prepared for.
Right.
That causes us to sort of think back from that. What do I need to do in order to be ready at that
Mhm.
point? The difference here is that that point could be a moment from now, or a year from now, or our death may be the point for that,
Right.
in a sense,
Absolutely.
which could be many years from now. So if you don't know,
Be prepared.
be prepared now. Yeah.
Good.
Is that good?
I think that's good.
All right. Well,
That's great.
let's invite all of you to think about that too. What does it mean for you to live today to its fullest, remembering the gospel promise to you that Christ has come and God's love has been poured out to you? How are you going to live now? How are you going to share that generosity? Not waiting, but recognizing that this moment is the gift that you've been given. How will you use it? That's a good question to ask as we begin this season of Advent. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Jared.
Thank you, Pastor. See you next week.